On the next Empire Report, death tolls rise on Karen 3 as the Civil War continues unabated. With the Senate's peacekeeping efforts proving to be in vain, is it time for the Navy to step in? And
should consumer ships be allowed to carry military-grade weapons? Hear one mother's plea. Plus,
Citizen Day. The season seems to be starting earlier every year. We talked to noted historian Jung Tao to see why that might not be such a bad thing.
all that and more on the latest Empire Report at 2200 SET.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 34 of Around the Verse. I'm Sandi Gardner.
And I'm Ben Lesnick.
If we look a little sleepy, that's because it is very early in the morning. The Cutlass Free Fly Week is almost up, so get in there and give it a shot.
Yeah, the Cutlass Black is available for everybody through end of the day Friday, so go Cutlass it up.
The Orion minigame came out. Can you earn the Prospector badge? Ben, did you earn yours?
I did not. I found myself heavily in debt, and then the game broke my legs. But hopefully our backers have better luck with that.
All right. Well, we've started a weekly rundown to catch up everybody on the latest Star Citizen news.
That's right. We now have a comm link every Saturday, so 6 days a week, baby.
6 days a week, baby. And now it's time for news from around the verse.
Let's send it to the Spectrum.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Santa Monica studio. We're here to give you the news update for this week. I'm Travis Day.
I'm Darian Vorlick.
I think starting off, we want to talk a little bit about the P-52 Merlin.
Sure.
Okay, so the P-52 Merlin is undergoing its model update. So we're in the process, as we talked about before, about doing the constellation rework. We're actually kind of putting in all the sizes and metrics, which Darian will talk about in a moment. And one of the things with the Merlin is that it was designed before any of these internal components like power plants, shield generators, avionics, radar units had actual dimensions. So we're doing a rework both to improve the look of the ship as well as to accommodate for all these different items. As part of that, we're looking at how it docks with the Constellation and reworking that, and it should be a very cool ship once we're complete. So one of the things I talked about was the sizes and metrics for things, and Darian, I think, has an update on that front.
Yes. One of the things that, in fact, the same guy who's working on the Merlin, Elwin Batchelor, he's also helping Calyx work on standardization of all of our weapons and weapon mounts. And what that exactly means is creating a standardized system that each class of weapon and mount can fit into. For example, if we have a size 2 gun, we'll say hypothetically that it fits on a 5-foot by 10-foot surface area on a ship wing. At least the concept artists will know that when they're designing these ships, if they know it's going to have a size 2 weapon mount, to leave that much clearance for that particular size item. So that means a few of the items that we already have within those size parameters may have to be remodeled to fit that new standardization. Yeah. But it does mean it makes it a lot easier for us to create a series of, like, how many sizes we have? 11?
Yep.
So given that we have 11 sizes of weapons, we need to make sure that each one of those size parameters have a certain standardization to it. The same thing with the weapon mount itself. All the different weapon mounts are going to have specific sizes that are particular to their, size rank. So therefore, all the size 1 mounts will be a specific size. All the size 2 and so forth will be a very specific size as well. Again, it's going to just create uniformity for all of our artists to be able to develop these ships a lot easier. Our developers and designers can at least have a certain constant that they know that they can fit something into. And it makes it easier for the players as well to recognize what they want to fit onto their ships as well.
Yeah, it's about guidelines and metrics. And I think one of the important things to note about this, we started with weapons, and we're going to basically migrate the same methodology, the same math equations to all of the different parts of the ships. And it's kind of an interesting, insight maybe into production, not so much producer production, but just production of a game in general, is that getting these kinds of size guidelines and metrics and standards established are super important to the mass production of assets, because everybody wants to fly in a game with lots of ships, lots of weapons, lots of items. That's what makes it fun. And in order to make all that possible, we have to make sure we have these standards and metrics. So it's a very important, albeit can sound kind of dry, but it is actually really important and really beneficial to the project as a whole.
That, and I mean, if we had to redesign every single item from scratch every single time we made a new ship,
that would
it makes the process way too long. If we already had a set of certain templates that we can adhere to, just like on a car, certain tires fit certain cars every time.
Yep.
If everybody made a different type of wheel, different type of tire every time, nobody would be able to buy anything.
Yeah. And then, so I guess that kind of brings us to our next topic, which is the Vanguard, formerly known as the Bulldog, formerly known as P. Diddy. It is a great ship that we're working on. It's basically in the concept stage right now. We've moved out of the sketch phase and into the concept model stage. So now it's actually being done in the 3D model by our concept artist, Gurmukh Bhasin. And the important thing, the interesting thing about this ship is that it fulfills a unique role that we haven't had before, which is our long-range deep space fighter. And really what that means is it's kind of the first to fight. And the variants for this ship, which I don't think we've talked about yet, all kind of revolve around, okay, you're the first one to arrive to a battle scene.
Kind of a line breaker.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do there? Do you break the line? Do you trick the line? Do you communicate back to your troops? And so it's an interesting role that the designers have had a lot of fun with, and our concept art team has had a lot of fun with. And we really look forward to being able to share that with all of you. And it is also another ship that has been kind of our gold standard, is directly benefiting from these sizes and metrics that we've been doing, so we can fit every single thing in every little detailed spot possible.
Yep.
So that's it for the news update from Santa Monica. I guess one thing I wanted to make clear is that the video guys always limit us down, but there's a lot more going on here every week than just the 3 things we talk about. So I want you all to know that everybody's working very hard on a lot of different things at all times. We just kind of share with you at an ad hoc basis what seems most relevant at the time for what's coming up in the community. So thank you very much. We really appreciate your support. We love making this game, and we'll see you in the verse.
Hey guys, Jake Ross here, associate producer of the Persistent Universe, and with me this week I have
Ryan Archer. I'm a marketing artist here at SIG Austin, and
yeah, cool. We got a little update for you. So the art team this week has been working on props again, as you might imagine. So our very own Ted Bergeon is working on a giant radar prop for the space stations that you might encounter in the PU. So these radars are massive in size and scale, and so they require a lot of attention, a lot of detail, and that is what Ted does best. So they'll be pretty cool looking fly up there on the space stations as you fly by them. We also have the bartender. It's off to skinning and waiting. It's done on the art side. So he's looking nice. He's got a little vest and everything. David Jennison, who you got to see last week on Meet the Devs, our lead character artist here, got him up to speed. So he's off getting looked at by our riggers. So you'll be seeing him serving drinks here in the social module for pretty soon. So get excited about that. I'll pass it off to Ryan. Ryan's going to talk about a little bit about the events that we got coming up. So Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, we have 2 very big events coming up this week and next. PAX East is going to be this week, and we're all hands on deck here, and I know in LA too, to get things ready for you guys there. And then right after that, we're doing South by Southwest right here in our own backyard. So that's a lot of fun. We got a lot of cool stuff going there. We're sponsoring a party, which will be fun. If you're in Austin for South by Southwest, make sure to stop on by and say hi to us.
We also have a little tidbit to share on alien languages. I know it's something that a lot of people are looking forward to. Ryan, can you give us a little update on the alien languages?
Well, one of the perks of working with David Ladyman so much is I get to overhear him talking about alien languages. He's got a whole team of linguists working hard on different languages, and I actually got to hear him speak some of a alien language. I won't say which yet, but it was pretty cool. I can't wait to see more so we can release it to you guys.
Yeah, it was pretty scary walking by David's office and hearing some sounded like he was choking on something. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. But I'm really excited to see the final. So cool. All right, well, I think that's it from Austin. So we'll see you around. Bye.
Hi everybody, I'm Ashley Canning. I'm working over here at Foundry 42 in the UK. I've been here for just over a year now, and my actual job is gameplay / tools programmer. I was initially a gameplay programmer, but I've kind of merged myself into tools over time. It was something that we needed over here in the UK, so I decided to kind of go for it. The tool I'm actually working on at the moment is quite a big tool, which is going to affect the whole of the Star Citizen universe. The tool's name is the Data Forge. This tool is used to basically contain all of the game's data. As some of you may know, some of you avid CryEngine developers, everything inside of the CryEngine is contained inside of an XML file. You know, whether it be the items or the effects or the ships or the mannequin data, everything inside of that, everything inside of CryEngine which is loaded is generally stored in an XML file. This presented us with quite a few problems, mainly the fact that the complexity of our vehicles increased by kind of tenfold. Obviously, you know how complex and detailed Chris wants the ships to be, so the items, the ships XML data quickly got out of hand. So we've over time we've been looking at ways to kind of approach the complexity of the ships. It's not just obviously in the rendering. We have to store the data some way, and we have to be able to manage it. Now with Star Citizen being the huge universe that it already is, there is going to be, you know, hundreds of thousands of tiny little XML files scattered across in several different folders. There's several hundred folders, and it was just unmanageable. So I took the approach. My initial task was to kind of take this XML data and create a format which would allow us to manage the data in a much better environment for both programmers, you know, the artists and designers. So I created the tool Data Forge. Now, as part of this process, the process of actually creating the data now, once it's moved over to the Data Forge, is you create a schema, and the schema is what describes how the data is laid out in the game. When you modify data inside of the database, it actually has a connection to the CryEngine because it's a separate tool. It's completely separate to the CryEngine. The reason we did this was because we wanted to be able to run the game outside of the CryEngine editor and be able to modify the data at runtime. Now, the cool thing about this is once the ships in there, the items are in there, you could have 10 designers playing the game while there's a designer that's kind of sat there listening to them saying, oh, the fire rate's a bit wrong, can you increase it? And then the designer would then go along, bump the slider up, increasing the fire rate, and it's automatically propagated to all the machines, and then they're all kind of balancing the game while the game is running. This is a huge benefit, obviously, because we know how much thought and time goes into the balancing of each individual ship, and we have a lot of ships, more items, and it's just like an n-squared problem. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that's basically what I do in the UK. Thanks for listening, everybody.
I'm David Langoliers. I'm a senior producer here at Ilphonic.
And I'm Rodney Wool, the lead designer at Ilphonic. So we just started putting together the initial plan for our FPS metagame, where we unlock the armor and unlock different weapons and attachments and ammo types as you play the FPS game. So we're starting to get that planned and in the game. Also, that kind of ties into our leaderboards, where we want to track a lot of stats like your kills, your deaths, your kill to death ratio, how many matches you've won, and all that. We'll start tracking that, and then we want to keep that for the leaderboards.
Yeah, and in that vein, you'll be earning rec playing FPS matches the same way you will be in Arena Commander, that you'll be able to unlock and rent stuff with. Yeah, lastly, we've just been killing out a lot of bugs for packs. It's coming in real quick now, but we're getting a good state for it. We think it's going to be good, and so I don't want to give it completely away, but what we're going to have to show you guys is sort of a zero-G focused environment that is all focused on zero-G combat. So yeah, you should see more of that in the next few days.
Thanks to all our studios from around the world. We know that you guys are working really hard on all the modules right now, but you're still taking time to update us, so thank you.
Let's go over to Will for MVP.
Hey everybody, I'm Assistant Community Manager Will here to bring you this week's MVP. This week's MVP goes to Crash for his Thread and Android app, in which he lists all the different ships that we have in Star Citizen and also includes the latest screenshots, the stats, and things along those lines. So if you have an Android phone, I definitely suggest downloading his app. And before you go, I'd like to highlight another organization. Musicians is a new organization and they're currently working on a second fan soundtrack. So if you're a musician and looking to help out in the Star Citizen universe, be sure to check them out. So thank you very much everybody for this week's MVP.
Thanks, Will.
Now over to James, who recently sat down with Austin's QA manager, Justin Binford.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Justin Binford. Justin, how you doing?
Hey, good. How
Good
are
to
you?
have you on here.
Thanks.
Why don't you go ahead and tell them a little about what you do here?
I'm a QA manager at SIG, and I basically direct QA operations primarily in the Austin studio. We also work really closely with the UK Manchester team, but I also am building up our QA team and just basically bug hunting and smashing bugs.
Are you smashing too?
Yeah.
Do you know our resident bug smasher?
Yeah.
So do you find the bugs for him to smash?
Oh yeah, definitely. We all find them, and the team's doing a great job with that.
Yeah. One thing Ben and I really wanted to talk about with you was how hard you guys work and how much we respect you guys' work and how much we want everyone else to see it.
Yeah, when we're coming up on a release, things get pretty hectic around here, and so we start crunching because there's a lot of quick turnaround with the builds, and we just have to make sure we check everything. So primarily when we coming up on a release, we'll be working some late nights.
Even over the holiday break for 1.0?
Yeah, it's just that build came in really hot, and when we finally had a release candidate, we pushed it out at the last possible second, and then we inevitably had some network server issues that we had to work through. But but we eventually got it taken care of. But yeah, we did have to keep working. But that just comes with the territory.
You guys were machines. I just constant emails the entire break.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, those guys are monsters over there, man. They deserve everything.
Yeah, my team is just so amazing. Each individual person is a complete badass. As a result, some of them will end up transitioning into development, but they're on the ball, they're on top of it, and I think it's a super help for the development process as a whole. But yeah.
Another thing that's interesting about our QA specifically is the way we take the community's help in finding and looking into bugs. How does that impact your workflow? Does that make it easier, or does it sometimes make it a little harder?
I think it definitely helps. As a whole, our QA team is relatively small, so we definitely have to leverage the community when we can, and they've been amazing at pointing out issues. So right now, they post issues on the forums. We also monitor chat, and so they'll tell us that way. They'll also tell us through the customer service ticket system. Yeah, it's definitely a huge help, and we plan to be expanding on that with a custom bug tracking solution that will be integrated into the website, which I think will help tremendously. We also have community helpers that are termed bug mods, and Jeff Clark has been super helpful in rallying the troops for the bug mods, and they've been super helpful in categorizing the issues and making sure the important issues bubble up to the top.
Yeah, it's another one of the special things about this project in general, as how much they make your job easier. You know?
Yeah, lots of community helpers, lots of just general helpers. Everybody's super excited about the game. We're all just fans, and we just want to make sure it's the best game possible.
Awesome, man. So how has the introduction of the PTU changed it a little bit of how you operate? Does that give you a little safety net?
Yeah, I think the PTU will be a lifesaver for us. We're just in the beginnings of implementing it and pushing it out. I think we'll be utilizing it more going forward. But yeah, basically, some of the things we're not able to test because we just don't have enough people. And so it turns out when we do release a build, it'll start getting hammered by the public, and then it'll present issues that we didn't see before. So using the PTU will help us tackle those issues primarily first and foremost, and then we'll have a smoother release, a smoother official release. So yeah, that'll definitely be helpful.
Is there anything about this project? Because I also worked in QA, and there's little tricks through the trade, and there's little things you can do. But what is it about Star Citizen? Is there anything about Star Citizen that makes it different? Makes it a little more difficult, or makes it just you have to think differently?
Yeah, I think primarily with the engine that we're using, one thing we've learned is if you make a change in a system, it can affect an entirely different system. So we've learned that the hard way going through. So we basically need to check everything for every release, and so our checklist has grown pretty huge so far. But we hope, luckily, we have the UK QA team helping us, and so they start their day around 3 a.m. our time, and they'll start a checklist, and then they'll hand it off to us, and we'll be able to finish it, and so we'll have a pretty quick turnaround that way. But yeah, that's one thing that's difficult is some changes can cause other systems to break, but also with the way we're doing development, we have multiple studios around the globe, and everybody's working together on the same code base, and sometimes some changes that happen in one studio can break things that happened in another studio. So we just have to be on top of it, but so far the team's doing great. They'll kick out issues, and so far it's going pretty good.
You guys are amazing. This is the first time I've seen your entire team, and it's not the biggest team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they're just all super excited. They're just so happy to work here. And every time we do crunch, I stress that it's voluntary, but they're just so gung-ho, and they're just so passionate about making the game the best it can be. We're the first line of defense and the last line of defense, and we just it's definitely everybody is taking like an ownership to it, and we all have the same attitude, and we definitely want to make sure that the game is good for when the official backers finally see it.
Yeah. You've been here for a long time.
Yeah.
Ben was telling me you guys were there from the beginning.
Yeah, we had we were in the basement of a house down by UT campus, and we're all packed in there. There's like 30 of us, and we physically could not fit another person in the office. We all were so packed in there. Later that year, we had our Christmas party, and basically everybody was sick because they just caught a bug from each other.
One person got sick and wiped everyone out.
Basically, yeah.
That's if you want to stop this game from being made, you can use chemical warfare. All right.
Well,
man.
not anymore because our office is a little bigger, so we got more space to let the germs dissipate.
That's why we moved out to a new space, just so we all wouldn't get sick at the same time. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, man.
Pleasure to have you, and I'm glad everyone gets to see the face of like you said, the first line and last line, the unsung heroes, and I want everyone to know that this is the man who is working so hard to make sure it's not as broken as it could be.
Well, thank you, and we definitely appreciate it. We get a lot of love from the community. We're back and forth with them on the forums and chat, and they show us a lot of love, and it only energizes us more to get the job done.
That's awesome, man. Absolutely. All right, man. Thanks again, and back to you guys.
always juice before you fly. So we are now flying a Super Hornet, and I am going to teach you some of the secrets to targeting.
Okay.
So as we start off, the radar is actually automatically scanning all targets as we come in. So you'll see on the radar these targets, which include your friendly targets and your hostile targets. They show up on your radar and they're automatically scanned.
Okay, so you're talking about here.
Yeah, those
Okay.
in the enemies that show up in orange are your enemies, are your enemy targets. The ones that are in green are your friendly.
Okay.
And to select it, you can hit Y. To select a hostile, you can hit the U key to select the nearest hostile.
Right, so there's a Vandal Scavenger.
There's a Vandal Scavenger. This cross right here represents your nose position. That's where your guns are currently pointing, your fixed weapons.
Okay.
But you'll notice that there are these hit predictors that extend out from it.
Uh-huh.
That is predicting, based on the target's velocity, direction of travel, and your projectile speed, where they're actually going to be hitting. So you're going to actually want to get that hit predictor over the target and then fire.
Okay.
So you'll notice if we get that pip over the target,
okay,
you'll hit it. You can see the shield effects because you are hitting it.
Okay, so you don't lock it then. You just put the target over
you just
the...
aim it. Yeah, you just put the hit predictor. That's why it's called a hit predictor, because it's predicting where that projectile is going to hit the target.
Okay.
So we are firing at our enemy target by putting that hit predictor right on top of it.
Okay, so the lock part is only for the missiles then?
Yes.
Okay. So is this making a difference then which weapons from my last training when I actually get the target?
Actually, you have the hit predictors are differentiated by shape.
Okay.
So you'll notice that there's a larger pip. That means that there are those weapons, they're merged together.
Okay.
Which means they have come close enough on the screen to just merge into one.
Okay.
Put the hit predictor over the target, and you'll actually notice once you hit it, there will be a hit indicator.
Okay.
And that is represented by an X that extends out from the hit predictor.
And what's the distance? See how this distance is decreasing and you're at 3,000 meters?
Yes, the range
and
is that's the target's relative range to you. So that's...
Yeah, but like, can I hit it? What's the best distance to hit it at, or it's irrelevant? It's just telling you.
There's a range to a weapon. If one of the weapons are out of range, the hit predictor will actually be colored red.
Ah, like that?
Yes, or it's either out of range or it can't gimbal far enough to get a targeting solution.
Okay. Okay, so.
So the square, the square hit predictor represents the laser repeater. So. A good tip is that if you want to take out the enemy shields really quicker, you would use your lasers to take out the shields. Ballistic ammunition goes through shields, but if you wanted to have that do more damage because the shields are down, you take out the shields first by using your laser weapons and then hit it with your ballistics. You just have to orient your ship in a way where these hit predictors, you get them on top of your target.
Okay.
And then so you can see I'm using my lasers. So I'm taking down the target shields, and that's actually shown in the upper right here. You'll notice that there's shield segments, and you can see them going down. As you hit your target, you'll notice in the upper right-hand corner there's a hologram representing the target. Mm-hmm. Its orientation tells you its orientation relative to you. Mm-hmm. And as you hit it, you can see that it gets damaged. So parts of it will actually start to turn red, and that means you've hit that particular part. So the target reticle is also, you'll notice it's in 3D, so it actually follows the direction at which the ship nose is pointed.
Okay.
And so that's how you can be able to determine if the ship is heading towards you or pointed away from you.
Man, sneaky. Now it's behind me, now it's over here, and now it's up here. Oh my gosh, and you do this all day? There it is.
Yeah, fire. hit it. You hit it.
I did. I hit
yes,
it.
Yes, you did.
You're going down.
Oh, I just want some of that juice.
Do you? Yeah. Doesn't smell very good, put it that way. We are working hard on 1.1. In fact, I'm not working that hard on 1.1. However,
We hope to have something for you very soon, possibly as soon as later today. Follow the comm link. We'll update you as it is prepared. And there's going to be all sorts of cool content once 1.1 comes out, including a brochure and some new ships to play with, all that. So keep following the comm link, and we'll have you the latest as soon as we know.
PAX East this Saturday wrap up. I'm not sure if there's a blizzard this weekend, but hopefully it's not too cold and we get going on time. I'm sure we will. We almost have this thing down, right? We've been going on time the past 2, 3, 4 events, so.
No, this one is not going to be live streamed, but we will have the video up Monday, and Saturday night we're going to have some of the content from it as Chris presents it available to the community, including a design piece on damage.
Cool. And we'll also be in the Logitech booth if you want to stop by and check out our 4x4.
What's a 4x4?
What's a 4x4? It was almost going to be a 5x5, but it's a 4x4.
Damn, we could have gotten that other 1x1 in there.
Monthly report and 2 design pieces also drop this weekend.
Yep, monthly report will be out on Friday, as will a design piece from the team right here in Santa Monica on the weapons mount revamp, which I know a lot of people have been asking about. That's going to happen in 1.1, and you're going to read all about it here. And on Saturday, as we mentioned, there'll be a piece from the UK on the new damage system, which will premiere on the Gladius.
Yay, and my favorite art sneak peek. What is it this time?
Check it out.
Thank you, everyone, especially to subscribers for making this show possible. We will see you next week on Around the Verse.